You're all most welcome to this 58th anniversary, a day we commemorate the Pan-African Women Organizations Day. I request you to stand up. The president is already here. The Pan-African women are all here, very warm, excited, happy to welcome you, Your Excellency. You are most welcome, Your Excellency. And also thank you for honoring our invitation with your physical presence. We thank you very sincerely. When Grace Kabaye walked into my office last week and proposed to me that I should participate in making sure that you attend this ceremony physically, I promised her that I would do my best. And Your Excellency, your physical presence here has answered many questions which I talked with Alice in the office in line with the timelines. And also the President, we are very sincerely privileged to host you here because we thought that it would be very difficult for the President of the Pan-African Women to arrange to travel in less than a week's time. We sincerely appreciate you, together with all other delegates who have managed to come and grace this ceremony. Normally, when Your Excellency you are around, what would I be saying? I would just stand up and invite you to speak. But allow me, Your Excellency, to request you to treat this as a special ceremony of women, and let me say these few lines before I invite you to speak. The African women share a common history and conceptual framework of understanding our reality. This realization is key to transforming our lives and the lives of others for the better. As we face similar challenges and a brighter future that we look forward to. Your Excellency, during the 57th anniversary of the Pan-African Women's Organization, on 31st July 2019, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mauza Mahamat, rightly noted that the African women continue to be the backbone of Africa's economies, for instance, as farmers, as entrepreneurs, as traders, scientists, and also as leaders, and in many other capacities. His Excellency, the President noted that the key Agenda 2063 projects, such as the open skies, blue economy, and infrastructure development, cannot be realized without the full involvement of women and youth. I am happy, Your Excellency, to note that we celebrate the 59th Pan-African Women's Day. A number of African women have assumed leadership positions and roles across the continent. Today, the narrative of leadership in Africa and by Africans includes the heads of state, the vice presidents like me, Your Excellency. Thank you for appointing me the vice president, the prime minister and also ministers. And in the judiciary, we have also women who are appointed there as justices. We have also in parliament the CEOs, heads of UN agencies, and so on and so forth. This is encouraging, for it inspires the African girl child and empowers the women of Africa in participating in crucial decision-making processes. Your Excellency, we don't take this lightly. And as the Minister for Gender has just stated, I would like also to emphasize that we shall commit ourselves in the offices you have given us to do our best. I hasten to add, however, that let us not limit our focus on the leadership positions that the African women have assumed. As the AU chairperson highlighted, all of us should continue to advocate for member states to adopt and implement policies as well as create conducive environment for all women to participate effectively, equally, and fully in all sectors of the economy for socio-economic transformation. Your Excellency, my concern is based on the recent findings of the World Bank, which indicate that 70% of the African women are excluded by the financial institutions or are unable to receive financial services such as savings or current accounts, loans, credit, and other institutional services. The main focus should therefore be on all women's financial and economic inclusion in our development journey. I am happy that the Minister of Gender has noted, for the sake of Uganda, we are on the right track. This means that every woman should be able to work and be able to earn and participate fully in socio-economic transformation of our continent, using the immediate environment of her country. May I also underscore the essence of today's theme, financial inclusion of women, challenges and opportunities, especially during COVID-19 pandemic. Faced with this evolving challenge, I invite and call upon everybody to ensure that women and young people play a central role in the COVID-19 response recovery. I would like to pay tribute to the founding members of the Pan-African Women Organization, who in 1962 had the foresight to strive to achieve effective and responsible participation of African women in the socio-economic transformation and cultural development of Africa. And secondly, they were in their agenda focused on pursuing the struggle for the representation of women at decision-making levels and fight for women's empowerment and elimination of all women discrimination across the African continent. As I come to my conclusion, Your Excellency, I equally acknowledge the important role that you, Your Excellency, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, played in reviving and re-energizing the Pan-African Women Organization in 2018. Here in Uganda, Your Excellency, President Museveni's advocacy for gender equality and emancipation is not limited to words, but is reflected in deeds. I am glad Honorable Cecilia Ogwal underscored this point very, very effectively. Honorable Cecilia Ogwal, thank you for confessing that His Excellency has made you silent. Indeed, Your Excellency, many women in Uganda have assumed key leadership roles during your tenure as the President of the Republic of Uganda. As we celebrate the 59th Pan-African Women's Day, I call on all women of Africa to be drivers of change and development by participating in leadership and roles in all sectors of our society. Your Excellency, having said that, it is now my singular honor and privilege to invite you to address us. The floor is yours, sir.
First of all, I want to extend Mama Janet's apology. She wanted to come, but she was involved in releasing results of the school system. That's why she didn't come. So she told me to convey greetings to you. I'm glad you have turned me into a messenger to carry her prize to her. Secondly, I'm very happy to see the veterans here. Mama Media Obote and Joyce Mpanga, who are among the pioneers of the educated women in Uganda, women who had been to university, but also who were working for the women upliftment in Uganda, but also in Africa. You hear that in the founding conference, Pumla Sosonkore was there, Joyce Mpanga was there, and Rebecca Mulila were there. I salute their contribution because they were really pioneers. People who started a new culture in Uganda and in Africa, because that was the problem. Lack of education in Africa was one of the biggest problems. Now, thirdly, this is not just a welfare association, because there are welfare associations which deal just with welfare issues. But this is a political, ideological, social grouping called the Pan-African Women Organization. And especially when it was founded to contribute to the liberation of Africa from colonialism. You can't liberate unless you know what you are liberating from and liberating to. So I would encourage you to define clearly the ideological, philosophical, strategic aims of the Pan-Africanist Women Organization. I have written a lot on these issues, and I would ask my staff here to give the delegates, certainly the leaders, for instance, the lecture I gave on Nelson Mandela Day at Makerere, the lecture I gave in Dar es Salaam when I was invited by His Excellency Mkapa, the address to the National Conference of the NRM last year in January in Nambole, and also the Sowing the Mustard Seed, the book of our struggle. Make sure that the leaders get those booklets and books. This is because I have spent 60 years studying this problem. I started in 1959 in the school system. Here we are dealing with three issues. Issue number one is how can the African people be prosperous through production? This is the first question you need to answer. Where does prosperity come from? In Swahili they say, ustawi wa jamii. Where will prosperity come from? Through production. Prosperity will come, and if you look at the world, countries which are rich now address that issue. The issue of, if I produce a good or a service, how many people will buy from me? Buy my good or my service? Because if many people buy from me, I produce, they buy, I produce, they buy, I produce, they buy, then I become rich. I become rich. And once I become rich, I employ more people because my business is expanding. And because my business is expanding, I pay more taxes. So the state becomes rich. Now, if you don't solve the issue of market, you will never get prosperity. You want examples? When my daughter was here, the president of PAO, on the inauguration, I gave the example of Latin America. Latin America is a very rich part of the world in terms of natural resources. They have a lot of water. The Amazon is the biggest amount of water. They have a lot of forests. They have a lot of minerals, but they are poor. Many of them are poor. Why? Because they are disorganized. If you are in Guatemala, you produce. Where do you sell? Guatemala is only 4 million people or something like that. Honduras. You see Haiti. Haiti, the other day the president was killed. Haiti. Those are black people. But next door, United States, because the English colonies of America, when they got freedom in 1776, they united, 13 of them, and they formed a nucleus. So if I was in America, I would be a billionaire now. Because you know I am a farmer. I produce milk. But there's no market for my milk now. Because the internal market of Uganda is saturated. Uganda now, you people, you are producing 2.6 billion liters of milk in a year. But Ugandans are consuming 800 million liters only. There is therefore now a surplus of 1.8 billion liters. Big problem to sell this milk. The same problem with sugar. You know the problems of sugar and sugar cane. Same problem with maize. So you can see the problem is where do you sell what you produce? So the African groups should stop talking vaguely about this empowerment. Empowerment, how exactly? Because empowerment is through production. Production of what? Goods or services. Goods are like the milk I'm talking about, like the sugar, like the maize, like the bananas, like the cement, like the steel product. Those are goods. Services, even singers. You see, in America, you can find that a singer is a millionaire. A basketball player is a millionaire. Why? Because he can play football in New York. From New York, he goes to Washington. From there, he goes to Chicago. From there, he goes to California without anybody stopping him. But here, if I am a singer in Uganda, to go to sing in Kenya, I need to be allowed. To go to So how will I be rich? As a singer, as a footballer, as a basketballer, or as a producer of goods and services. You cannot be rich if you do not solve the issue of the market. A market where goods can go without border, without tax, without custom, no. If I was in China, I would be a very rich man now. You can imagine if one Chinese drinks 1 liter of milk. By the time we finish all the Chinese, you've got more than 1 billion liters a day, in one day. So this is number one. If this is not emotional, that we are meeting because we are black, because no. It is a matter of survival. If we don't solve it, we can be here just like Latin America. You see them, they are there. They are running away to go to the America to get jobs. The second issue, the second target of integration is strategic security. I heard somebody talking of the silencing the guns. One of the people was talking. It was Sisi Ogwar. But how will you silence the guns if you don't act together? Here we were able to get rid of Idi Amin because we worked with Mwalimu Nyerere. Worked together with Mwalimu Nyerere and Kaunda, and we were able to get over Idi Amin. The liberation movements, Frelimo, ZANU, ZAPO, SWAPO, MPLA, PAIGC, ANC, PSC, were able to fight because we worked. Some of the Africans worked with them, not all, but some. Mwalimu Nyerere, Kaunda, Sekou Touré, Gamal Abdel Nasser, Ben Bella, Boumediene, Nkrumah before he was overthrown by the traitors. They worked together. That's how we were able to defeat the whites. Some people think the whites can't be defeated. But if we work together, Africa is very strong. By 1974, the Portuguese Empire was defeated by the African armies of Frelimo and MPLA and PAIGC. The Portuguese had an army of 70,000 in Mozambique and had another army of, I think, 60,000 in Angola and 40,000 in Guinea-Bissau. But we defeated them. Of course, I was also not fighting yet that time there, but I was a soldier supporter. In 1968, I visited the liberated area of Mozambique together with the student group, Cabo Delgado. So, we cannot talk of strategic security if we do not work together. All these problems can be solved. But if we don't work together, what can be done? So, the women movement and other Pan-African groups must very clearly make that very clear. Please stop wasting our time. Like this group in Somalia, which we dealt with. They were there that they were extremists, Islamic extremists. Here in Africa, we don't have extremists in our culture here. This tribe is doing this, the other tribe is doing something different. Another tribe cut themselves like this, another time they cut here. Fine, you do what you want. And we respect what you do. We only cooperate on where we agree, like trade. Now these fellows who come say that they are Muslims, they want to fight people who are not Muslims. Who are you? So we went to Somalia and they were calling us kafir, that we were kafir. So okay, this is the land of kafir. We are going to teach you that this is our land. And we did it with them. That's how we defeated that group because we worked together with other Africans. So, Pan-Africanism, number one, is to deal with the issue of prosperity. We cannot be prosperous if we don't solve that problem of market. Secondly, we cannot solve the problems of security if we want to work together. So the second reason is strategic security. But the third reason is fraternity. Fraternity. These people you are talking about are actually either the same people, similar people, or linked. If you look at the population of Africa, there are just 4 groups. There's what they call the Niger-Congo group of languages, the Kwa group in Yoruba and so on, West Africa, and then the Bantus this way, like our daughter there from Namibia. When I met her, I say, how do you greet? Olalopa, Olaro, something like that. Olara. Kulala is Nyankore. The only difference is that that's how they greet in Namibia. Imagine Namibia, to get to Namibia, you fly for 5.5 hours, I think. Or is it 4 hours? 4, 5. You can imagine you are flying 5 hours. A plane is covering 560 miles an hour. So you multiply now. How many miles are those? Something like 3,000 miles in the air without measuring on the ground. But that young girl, that big lady is speaking the same language like I'm speaking here. The word kulala, for them, all these people came from here. They are all refugees from here. I think when they were here, the Bantus were using the word kulala to mean to sleep. So they still use that word there, kulala. Now, Banyankore still use the same word, but differently. Kulala, even in Swahili they use kulala. Even in Swahili they use kulala. Kulala now, the Banyankore use it to mean to go to a place and spend the night there. Yararayo. He spent the night there. That is now the Kulara. But now the Banyankwere and these other tribes here, they now have different words for sleeping. Kwebaka, Kugejegera, they have different, they brought new words for sleeping. But that word is still there, meaning to spend the night. So then you come to the Niger Congo, then you have the Nilo-Saharan, our groups, the Nilotic, the Nilo-Hamitic, the Cushitic. That's how you find, for instance, if you look at Somaliland, when we were in Somalia, I was asking them, what do you call water? Somalis say, bio. Just like Luo, pio, P. Yeah. If you ask Somalis what they call water, bio. If you ask Kanachori what they call daughter, Nyara. And when you ask the Bantus, what is Nyara, they know what it means. Although they will not tell you. Then the Somalis, I asked them, what do you call a cow? They say, sa. Now, you know, in all the Bantu dialects, the cow dung of a cow is busa, amasa, all the tribes. So you can see in Somalia, the word for cow, here we use it for cow dung, because in these dialects, they are so rich. You don't call the dung of a cow, you don't call it dung. Banyankwere will kill you if you say, cow has got dung. Cow has no dung. Cow has got something else. The English call it cow dung, but for them, they call it a special name for it, while they have got another name for dung. So therefore, number 3. So number 1, why we support Pan-Africanism? Number 1, for prosperity. We cannot be prosperous unless we get together. Number 2, security. But number 3, by the way, the people we are talking of uniting are actually either similar or linked people. They are the same people. Then when you come to Swahili, Swahili is a neutral language which don't belong to any tribe. It was developed by our tribes at the coast of East Africa when they got there, Mombasa, Dar es Salaam, Tanga, Sofara there in the south. They couldn't communicate easily, so they developed a new language which was a synthesis of all the tribal languages and also some Arabic words. So therefore, it is very easy for us to unite because we have got a common language which can unite us. And in any case, we have got all these ancient linkages. So this is really my case for Pan-Africanism. It's not emotional that because we're Africans, no. It is an issue of destiny. Either we do it or we condemn our children to a bleak future. So therefore, I would want my staff to give the literature. When you look at China now has come and overtaken all these countries. Overtaken UK, overtaken France, overtaken Japan. It's now the second biggest economy in the world. Those numbers, it's very easy for them. China opened up only in 1978, when they opened up the economy. But some of our economies have been run by private sector-led growth for a long time. But they are nowhere near China now. The US is a big economy because of numbers, because of that market, the big market. India is coming up. So how will the Africans manage if they don't see this message of numbers mean prosperity? So therefore, I would want to challenge them. Then you can talk about the other tactical issues, because some of the issues are tactical. Women, inheritance rights, and all those things that the women should own land and so on and so forth. Because even who own land now are poor. So because these men, they say they own land. If you own land, why are you poor? So if ownership of the land per se was a solution, then there should be no poor men, because most of the men have land. So that means there is something else missing. And this is the one I would like you to focus on. And it is definitely, in the last 400 years, you can imagine, in 1520, if you go to Mbarara now, there is a hotel there called Igongo. One of our people built a hotel there to commemorate the eclipse of the moon of 1520. Because that eclipse is remembered because the king of Bunyoro had gone to attack Rwanda. These small kingdoms of ours were already there. So this king of Bunyoro, Olimi, went and attacked Rwanda and stole a lot of cows from there. And as he was coming back, at mile 9 from Mbarara, when we were coming this way, the eclipse took place. So the Banyoro were frightened when they saw darkness during the day. They ran away. They fled. They abandoned the cows. And the Banyankore took them. And then when that king came back here, he came here to Buganda and killed the king who was here called Nachibinge. So